Hello, everyone. Mark here from WeedWell. Thank you for joining us. And today I have the pleasure of having my colleagues Paul Calori and Doug Rawson for our monthly Capstone. This is a time that we set aside every month, basically to review the highlights of the previous month. And I'm sure that there's going to be some value that will be gained out of the information that will be shared, and we're happy to do so. So, Paul and Doug, welcome.
Good day, good day. How are you guys?
Great. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping somewhere, so it's all good.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, March was another monumental month. We ended our month in review last month by saying this month there'd be something new and different we'd share it with everybody today. Do you remember what that was last time? I'm hearing a pause, so no one wants to go because I don't want to be embarrassed on live.
Paul, it's my turn to get caught.
It was our signage behind us, Paul. We said that we'd be showcasing the new signage today. Yeah. We said in next month's broadcast, we just, there were so many things on the go that we just didn't get a chance to put them up. So let's commit to having that ready for next month. We just wrapped up last week. We wrapped up our signature course, A Path to Be Well, the last of our weekly Q&A sessions. And it was really interesting and fun and rewarding to go through that exercise as people were progressing from be clear to be aware, to be informed, be progressing, be well, and seeing, how everything was compounding, building on itself. Equally, I find the podcast to be the same. At the start of the year, we kind of came up with a number of how many podcast episodes we wanted to release this year. We released 8 episodes in the month of March this year. And when you look back at the different episodes that were released in March, they were really, really good, full of value. But what I'm liking about the content, the delivery of the content that we're delivering, is we're not talking about cannabis. We weave in whether or not it's appropriate, whether it's safe. One of the episodes a little while ago that you guys did was about looking at the Q-R, and we looked at some other things about how we can use a lens of evaluating if it is safe and appropriate for you. And what I'm going on here is this. We've really been trying to tease this around that your health journey is your health journey. And your path may be different than someone else's path. But just take, a methodical approach, taking one step at a time, moving forward. And as long as you're making gains, as long as you're making forward motion, then call that a success. Because some people may get progress and results in a week. Some people may get a month, and some people may take a year. That doesn't matter. It's, are you getting forward motion in your journey? And that's what we're really here to talk about. And really, some of the tools and some of the things we're trying to present are about that. And in the last couple of weeks, we've really been talking. Last week, we ended up talking about complementary and alternative healthcare and health providers. And again, it's another good lens. And I like how you guys were saying, listen, we're not saying Reiki or massage or chiropractic naturopath is right for everyone. But we're saying, look at it through a lens of, can it help you move down your path? And can it get down that path in a lens of safety? And what I'm liking is we're looking at this from the whole person from a safety and health perspective. And I really appreciate how we're bringing that and teasing that in, that, we've said this many times, that when people come onto the episodes with us, they always mention they do the hard work. And we're saying the same thing. If you want to move forward in your health journey, you need to do the hard work. I want to share a little something if I can. You guys know I enjoy, I say reading. It's being read to with Audible books from Audible. But let's still give me the credit for reading. I love reading a lot of business and business improvement and that kind of books. Lately, I've been getting on a different path because, I'm just getting tired of reading those other ones. And some of the other ones have been about wellness and how can we deliver a better wellness perspective. And I'll bring up this one book that I really think is good for everyone to pick up and read. If you can, go to your library or download it or get what you can, but it's a phenomenal book. And as I've been going through it, it actually resonates with almost every topic that's been discussed in our recent podcasts. every one of the podcasts. It's almost like someone listened to our podcast and they wrote the book. I know it didn't happen like that. It's probably the other way around, but it's really, really good. So the book is called The 3-Day Effect. The 3-Day Effect by Florence Williams. And what the book is really about is it kind of goes through a case study, and the case study is about people who have suffered trauma. And the first part of the book is really about people who suffer trauma, specifically PTSD, and specifically serving veterans. And it interviews people, and they say what we've heard in our episodes. I was in a dark spot. I was contemplating suicide, my depression. Like, this book really speaks that same tone and language that we have communicated. And through this discovery of where they're at and wanting to move forward on their own health journey and not accept where they're at here and now, they go through this program called the 3-Day Effect. And the 3-Day Effect is this: get out of your environment and move into the wilderness, move into the wild, move out in nature, and basically go on a remote camping excursion, go kayaking, do what you can, but don't be inside your environment where you're attached to your cell phone, where you're attached to your portable devices and all this external noise, and really take time to reflect on you and what you need. And what's really interesting in this book is it goes on to talk about what that does for your brain and what it does for you as a person by rewiring who you are and where you are. And there's actually a really cool quote in there where one person said, doing this exercise, doing this 3-day effect, getting into nature, even though they do it for 3 days, they said that is worth its weight in gold, meaning they get more value in that than they do in doing a whole year of counseling sessions. And again, why I bring this up, guys, is because a lot of the same methodology, a lot of the same stories, a lot of the same trials and tribulations are similar to what we've been talking about. The difference is the 3-day effect is going out in nature for a few days and go kayaking or canoeing or camping or campfiring. We're saying the same thing. What we're saying is consider all those things, your environment, whether you have a complementary alternative healthcare provider, no matter what it is, but do what you can to really look at you as a whole and implement these things to try to get you to the next phase of your health journey. And I wanted to bring that up because it really is timely on what we've been talking about. Probably about 5 episodes ago, Mark, or I don't remember which one of you guys, but you were talking about SMART goals. And you said, listen, we talked about this 8 weeks ago. Now it's time to recalculate, rephase, go where we are. And our journey, our conversation through our podcast and these live streams have been kind of in that be clear stage, setting your goals and establishing your treatment plan. And the last little bit, it's been more about the whole person, how we can implement these other pieces. I know we didn't talk before we went. We said we'd see where it goes, but I wanted to bring in this conversation about this book. Again, the 3-Day Effect. I can't say enough about how powerful it is. And I really think it complements where we are in our conversations and our journey with people about cannabis and pain meds and physio and there is no one size fits all solution. There is not one thing that's going to work for everyone. But if you can take enough of these little things and mold it around what you need to move forward, hopefully that will give you the power and the support to be able to move forward on your own journey. So I just want to start off with that. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to add to that.
Well, Doug, yeah, I totally concur with you. And it's about wholeness and wellness, and perhaps a time to reset and reflect and get refreshed by doing that. And I really love what you just shared, and how 3 days could have such an impact. Absolutely.
As you were talking along there, Doug, it sounded like it was all about be clear. The nature trip, if you will. It was all about be clear. And you seem to touch on something, and I know we've talked about before, and it's the idea of the long time chronic sufferer of pain, anxiety, depression, PTSD, whatever the condition, but They want to be better, and they want to be better yesterday. And so often people come into the fold at WeedWell thinking they're at Be Informed, and they're looking at what cannabis can they introduce to fix my problems. And like the story from this author that you mentioned, Florence Williams, that you mentioned, it sounds like she's taking them a step back as well. The same thing as we talk about when we talk about, you're not there yet. Maybe we should try to be clear, or take the nature trip in the case of the story, and really get a handle on what it is that you're trying to treat, trying to accomplish, where you're at today, so you can see where you want to be tomorrow, which is, or be aware. And so the terms, the names, they differ. The story and the idea is the exact same. And a lot of success stories and the people that we talk with spend time in that be clear stage. And you mentioned the person from the anecdote from the book, worth its weight in gold by taking that 3 days to figure things out. We're really saying the exact same thing. That handle, which is the part that people often want to skip over, is a key component to your path to be well. It's the first step for a reason. Think of it as a foundation or a building block, but you want to spring off that.
You know, Paul, I'm so glad you brought up that component about be clear, you know, really getting clarity on where you're at. And I didn't draw that conclusion until you said it. I'm glad you said that. Because as soon as you said that, Paul, there was one person, I don't want to give away the whole book today, but there's one person in this book that talked about their journey. And they said it took them 10 years of dealing with the trauma and all the internal conflict and everything that was coming from it, and how it was affecting relationships and family and everything was going on. 10 years until they finally accepted where they're at and could understand where they're at, until they could move forward on working on them. And I think we can't minimize that enough, where you, Paul, have really tried to put that in focus, saying you need to really start to be clear. Like, don't come into this with the be informed, be progressing. Like, let's don't worry about creating the treatment plan or path. Let's figure out where you are today. Then let's align your health goals, your plan around your goals. What do you want to achieve? And I think that is a very important component. And I think that's something that we're trying to communicate effectively. And I think people are getting more results by just accepting where they're at, getting some clarity where they're at, and then making a plan forward. So valuable there, Paul.
And Doug, on that point about accepting where you're at, it's such an important part of that, because they've been on their journey for probably extended period of times, and they could be looking at themselves really and putting themselves down for a number of reasons. Maybe not being able to accomplish what they set out to do, what they were hoping to accomplish. And by accepting it, you're saying, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm accepting this. Now it's time to move forward. So not to dwell on self, but say, all right, this is where I'm at. May not be where I'd rather be. Maybe I made some mistakes, some bad choices along the way. Did not follow through with what I said I was going to follow through, but that's behind you now. There's nothing that you can do about that. Build on what you have, and you'll see the results come from that.
You know, I think as I sit back, like, I'm not involved in the weekly episodes like you guys are. You do know I do listen to them more times than you do as we go through the editing phase and the publishing phase. But I really like the path that our information's taking, because it's really about that, and it's adding another tool to the toolbox. You know, I hate to use the same analogies all the time, but we started with an empty toolbox, and every week we're adding a new tool, and we're saying, if it's appropriate, use the hammer. If it's appropriate, use a screwdriver, and use the one that's appropriate for you this week. And that's really adding more clarity, I believe, to this conversation. You know, this, Mark, you start off by saying that this is kind of our capstone of the month and reviewing the month. And it's a good time to reflect, both for us personally on our own journeys, both personally and professionally on our organizational perspective, but also how we're serving people and helping them on their own personal health journeys. And when I look back to a year ago, 3 years ago, 6 years ago, and even the last month, it's amazing the progress that's been made. And I know, Paul, you and I have had these conversations about, at the end of the day, as long as we can say we move the barometer forward 1 step or 3 steps, we've had a successful day. Maybe we didn't get everything accomplished we envisioned, but as long as we move forward, that's the same thing organizationally. And, if we look back for the last, I'd call it a year and a half, 2 years, we probably weren't clear organizationally. Organizationally, we probably wanted to do a lot of things. And it's really only been, in my perspective, the last year-ish, and I'd say 6 months, that we've really gained clarity. If I use our own monikers that we use, we've only been using the be clear in our organization about who we serve and how are we going to serve. I really feel that we've done a tremendous job, and I think we're kind of the measuring stick to other people from what we do at Simcoe Holistic Health. And I think we're all proud of what we've accomplished, and I think we've had some great feedback from consumers how we've helped them down their journey. But back to the Be Clear phase, over the last 6 months, 8 months, a year, we've been dedicating time on doing these live stream broadcasts, helping people progress down the path on their own health journey. But I think we've been conflicted about who are we and what are we trying to do. And I think we've been trying to figure out where do we sit and where do we go. And we've had some great conversations about that. And I really like where we've landed. And when I say that, when I look at what we've accomplished in the month of March compared to February, compared to January and backwards, every month I see more value. And I see more value from the consumer standpoint that we're giving them more tools in our toolbox to move forward down their health journey. And why I bring that up is last month, during our monthly Capstone, we actually had the opportunity to talk with Justin from Avail Cannabis, and we introduced Justin. And that was a big transformation for us because, for the last several months now, back into the fall of 2020, we've been working with Justin and Avail through a relationship that Avail would become the clinical provider of our Simcoe Holistic Health clinical patients. And really, February and March has been that transitional time where now we've moved away from one-to-one clinical appointments, and that's now Avail's responsibility. And Justin's doing a great job serving people, and that's where his heart sings and where his passion lies and where he does fabulous work. And although that's where we began our journey and where we've done some great work and we've had some great testimonies and we've been privileged to be part of so many people's journeys, we've now moved on to our next phase. And our next phase is what we're talking about here and now. And that's where I go back to this Be Clear. We had to get clear on where we are. And, if we went back 3, 4, 5 years ago, we probably didn't envision us doing this. But now we too have delivered some great content. I think we're helping more people. And, I meant to say this morning in our check-in, but we had a great email from someone yesterday that said, we understand that you guys are no longer going to be doing the clinical one-to-one appointments. We're looking forward to the new relationship, and good for you to move forward when we are, because you're going to help more people just like we. And, if you would have been around when we started our journey, you might've been able to help us quicker, sooner, faster. And that's our lens. And I think that clarity has really helped us on this path as we progress forward. And again, when I look at our podcast example, which is the repurposed live streams, we are our branch and how we're opening that up to bring in more people to help them improve their quality of life, utilizing cannabis as a treatment option, is really what we're trying to do. And I know I said this the other day, we have a mission. And our mission is we want to help 100,000 people improve the quality of their life by considering the safe use of cannabis in their treatment journey. Now, we're talking about all kinds of other things to include in that, but we can't do that on our own. And now we're really asking people to join us. We're asking you to join us in this journey to be part of a community that's growing to help one another and foster them in their journeys and provide tools and tips and strategies, because you know more than we know. We're facilitating the conversation. And how we'd like you to do that is join our group. We have a pretty phenomenal Facebook group that's been started, and we would love to have people join us. And you can join it at weedwell.group. So go to weedwell.group, and you can be part of a conversation with other members. And it doesn't matter where you're at. We don't worry about geography and jurisdictions and where doctors are allowed to prescribe or not prescribe. It's a conversation about you and how we can help you on your journey. And if we have a tip or a strategy, we'll go for it. And that's really where we are. We're really trying to help more people on the path. And again, guys, if we look back to the last month, a month ago, things look different than it does today. And every month we're moving forward. And if I look at all of the assets, all things we're delivering, we're doing a great job. And, you guys have been the ones that are doing the delivery of the content, the information. So you're probably on your mute buttons, tell me enough. But I just want to share the last month from my view on that perspective.
So the be clear analogy to the WeedWell pitcher. It's wonderful that you brought that up. And it ties into a conversation Mark and I had last Thursday when we're talking complementary medicine and the idea that the discussion of something 2 or 3 steps down the road is very different for someone who's gone through the be clear, be aware, be informed process than someone coming in day one and not having much clarity or awareness or being informed. Because you need those building blocks that I already said. And so you talk about a new focus or a razor focus, if you will, on helping 100,000 people and playing in kind of this lane and whatnot. Well, the complementary stuff, the resources that you talk about that are available on WeedWell Group, they become much more appropriate and applicable when we're playing here as opposed to trying to do the clinical piece or trying to do this or that. And so we've found our own be well, if you will, at this point, where we can incorporate designing your own treatment plan and why it makes sense to you at this point, or we can incorporate medications that mix with CBD in the liver pathways or any number of resources that reside on that Facebook group. But the idea that we took a step back and figured out where it was that we wanted to go, how we wanted to serve, who we wanted to serve, how many people we wanted to serve. This all becomes very appropriate in our sort of be well discussion and our complementary medicine and other tools and resources that we can share with our consumer and people and members in our group.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. And we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for all of the patients, and Doug touched on this, that we have served and helped and learned from for a great number of years. And the passion remained to help people. We're looking for a method to being able to multiply our time and being able to reach and help a larger number to be able to reach and accomplish the 100,000 that we have set out to do. So this is the way to do that. And it wasn't an easy decision, as we all know. It's kind of letting your baby go, the one that you've nurtured and become fond of over the years. But we knew it was the right thing to do. And especially now with Avail, we're confident that those clients that we had the privilege of serving for such a great number of years will continue to receive the same level of care, perhaps even better, and that's great. But for us is that we're able to focus now truly on what we believe we're well equipped to do, and we have that passion that is driving us to do that as well. So absolutely.
It's interesting when you evaluate the journey and where you began and where you want to go. And Paul, you're right. The Be Clear lens, I'm glad we brought that into the fold here of the organization. Because, we need to have some clarity on what it is we're trying to achieve as well and where it is we want to go. But really, as we move forward, we're going to continue delivering the content, the information. And what we really need from our viewing audience is to ask the questions and be involved and let us know how we can serve and what we can provide. So again, at weedwell.group, if you sign up to the Facebook group, there's all kinds of resources in there. Every day, Mark's going in and providing, quick action that you can take, immediate action and steps to move forward on your health journey. It's not always about cannabis, as we've talked about previous episodes. It can be just gaining clarity in your own state of health. But what we really need from our viewing audience is a couple of things. One, subscribe to our podcast. If you're listening to this on our podcast right now, subscribe. Leave a comment. If you leave a comment, Google and Apple love comments, and I love good, favorable comments. So if you see value, leave a comment, subscribe, ask your family and friends to follow along. Follow us on our Facebook channel. And do ask questions and let us know how we can better serve. And one more little plug I'm going to put in here is we've had the great fortune of having clients and consumers share their stories. And not everyone has the story that was easy, meaning on Monday they ordered a product, on Tuesday they received it, on Wednesday they started dosing, on Thursday they're all better. That's not usually what the story is. Usually the story is, like Paul said a little while ago, usually there's a long-term ailment, long-term chronic condition that's conflicting somebody, and they've tried numerous treatments, antidotes with little to no success. And out of desperation, out of despair, out of frustration and overwhelm, they decided to try another option. And generally through that, they get some clarity on their own state of health, and then they start realizing some results. Now, these conversations really are in the individual's voice and tone, and they're not scripted, and you get to hear it in their own words, the journey and how it worked. We would love to hear more stories, whether we have helped or not, about your health journey. Maybe you're on a journey right now and you're stuck and you don't know how to move forward. We'd love to hear from you. We want to have an opportunity to be able to share as many stories as we can. Why? As little or insignificant that you may think your story is, it is dramatically going to help somebody improve the quality of their life. And often people think, oh, it's no big deal, it's just this. It's a huge deal. And you would be amazed the number of times people hear these stories and they draw a parallel and they say, that's me. That's what I was dealing with. Oh, I didn't realize I could do that. And you will help somebody improve the quality of their life. You will help somebody gain the confidence to move forward on their own treatment plan. You will help somebody help themselves on their own journey of care. And you will help us achieve our mission in helping 100,000 people improve the quality of their life. So I'd ask if anybody is able and willing to share their story, that connect with us. The easiest way would be send us an email at info@weedwell.com. Again, it's info@weedwell.com. And Mark will connect with you and have a conversation. And at the end of the conversation, if you both feel it's worthwhile to continue on, then he'll talk to you about the next steps of going on to a live broadcast. And I can't say enough how powerful these stories are and how much they help people. Often, when someone tells a story, we'll get an email within a week later and someone says, I was listening to the story the other day about this. Could you tell me about this? Can you tell me about that? How do I do this? And you will help someone. So that's a small little plug I just want to put in there, guys.
So, Doug, thank you for bringing that up. And as you know, I'm the one reaching out to these clients. And as much as they're eager to share their story, there's often a reluctance, and that's basically, maybe being a little shy. But I will say that when I mentioned just what you said, how this will impact someone else, and that could be multiple people, for the most part, that is the turning point for them to say, you know what? Yes, I would have liked to have received that, or maybe I did. I was influenced by someone's story, and I did do that. That is usually the turning point for that client, the one that might have been reluctant to do this, to say yes, because I would like to help someone. Someone has helped me, and I would like to be able to return that.
So as we move forward, that's kind of my month in review, my comments. I don't know if you guys have more to add to that, but one more thing I'd like to say. We're at tax time of the year. And And, I think we should always do the best we can to tell people the upsides and downsides of everything. If you have been buying your cannabis in Canada from a licensed producer for medical purposes, if you haven't saved receipts, reach out to your licensed producer. You can use those receipts and claim them as a medical expense on your income taxes. So provide those to your tax preparer, your accountant. Those are a medical expense, which you can be getting benefit from come tax time. So just keep that in mind. Those of you moving forward, every time you're making a purchase for it for medical purposes, save those receipts. It'll just make it easier for you come next year. The other thing I want to share, guys, is we've had a couple consumers that have been successful in getting coverage approvals from their insurance providers now. And I'm seeing more and more that really since January to now, that we're starting to see more carte blanche coverage for benefits. So, often we'll hear that question from people saying, is it covered? And my answer and my analogy here is this. It doesn't matter who your provider is. Sometimes people say, I'm with, XYZ insurance. That doesn't matter. Think of it as car insurance. Paul may have $500 deductible and Mark has $700 deductible. I have $1,000 deductible and Paul's includes a stereo and Mark's doesn't, but mine does. It's based on what you buy for coverage. And in the circumstance of coverage for medical purposes, usually it's provided by your employer. So it's what your employer would have purchased on behalf of the employees. So the insurance carrier doesn't matter so much as opposed to the provision of services that was purchased on your behalf. So the first step would be to reach out to your human resources or your employer. Ask them if it's covered. If you're not feeling like you want to have that conversation with them, then reach out to the insurance provider directly. Ask them if it's provided. And if not, start the conversation. I was reading an article a while ago, and, we've talked about this before, Mark and Paul, but this insurance provider did a small little case study, and something we already knew, that once they provided coverage for their cannabis, their claims for narcotics and benzos and sleep aids dramatically went down. So they looked at it as a cost savings, which we've talked about in the past, but that didn't happen until the consumer started pushing and saying, hey, will you please cover this? Because I'm using it for a bona fide medical reason. And sometimes people feel like they're being judged, and we're not judging. We're just trying to give you the facts that at the end of the day, if it's not covered by the policy, you can't get coverage, but you got to start banging on the door and you got to start asking for that support. And unfortunately, when it comes most times to financial things with insurance or government or political stuff, it always comes down to the cost. Who's going to pay for it, or how much is it going to save me? And it's not so much about right and wrong and is it appropriate and well covered. It comes down to the cost. And in this circumstance, it did have a dramatic reduction, and they've since then, I don't recall the jurisdiction or where, but they have since then provided as a wide open coverage perspective. So do follow up with your insurance provider, save your receipts, provide them to your tax preparer. You can claim those on your income taxes.
So Doug, to your point about, do reach out to your employer, first of all, human resources, but failing that, even the insurance company. And we always remind our patients that by doing so, you're creating awareness, and that eventually maybe things will turn around. And we're seeing, and I'm happy to hear that things are turning around. So even if the answer is no, when you do make that call and you do reach out, that no may be not yet or not now. So do, keep calling and asking, and hopefully it will contribute to, a positive response down the path.
Sorry, Paul, go.
I mean, the message is great from you guys. The only other thing I would add onto that is the generic health spending account. Sometimes you can apply the cannabis cost to that. So while the cannabis itself might not be covered, some plans have a generic account. Like you said, Doug, it's not across the board. This company may purchase it, this may not. But it's another way to perhaps cover some cost.
So as we move into April, I'm looking forward more to seeing where our broadcasts and live streams go, and how we're teasing in the information. One thing I really want to emphasize here for our listening audience is we're not really a broken record repeating everything week over week. What I really want to emphasize here is we've got 5 stages, and you can go to weedwell.tips, and at weedwell.tips we've got several resources available for you to download. One that I want to talk about right now is called a roadmap. And a roadmap is a tool that you can download and use it on your own. Doesn't matter where you live or where you work or play. It's a tool to help you move down your path to hopefully make forward progress on your health journey. And this roadmap was methodically done through our process. And our process is a 5-stage process, starting with be clear and really gaining clarity about your current state of health. And then moving into the next phase of being aware of your current state of health, really structuring around by creating a treatment plan and goals that's aligned to you. And the roadmap really sets out several steps that you can take to get forward progress on your journey. So again, it doesn't matter where you live, work, or play. This roadmap applies to everyone. So I would encourage you to go to our website, weedwell.tips, get a copy of the roadmap and really implement that where you can. Why I'm bringing that up is we're not really trying to be a broken record. When I look back, I don't think we are. I think what we're really trying to say is new content, new content, new content. And then we tease in the important pieces, the gain clarity of your health, for example, or setting the health goal. Because it's like building a house where we're starting with a good, strong foundation and layering on top, layering on top, layering on top. And our goal and strategy here is every week we should be delivering new, valuable content to you. If there's something you want to know more about, if there's something that you're really thinking that we haven't hit yet, it's probably in the queue, and we're probably going to talk about it in, say, June. But if you want to know about it sooner, just shoot us an email, info@weedwell.com. It's not a big deal for us to really change the order of our content. But if there's something you want to know, maybe it's something we haven't thought about. Paul's really leading the content component. And, we're working months in the future. But if you want to know, we need to hear from you about what it is we can provide you. Now, why I'm saying that is we've done a lot of work, Mark and Paul, on our signature course called The Path to Be Well. And I enjoy going through this process of delivering the content, even though the lessons themselves have been pre-recorded. We're going through these live Q&As to really reiterate the information, talking about where people are in their journey and how they can move forward. Now, we're going to do something interesting come June. We're launching the next, we'll call it the next cohort of people coming through the program. And we're not actually looking at this as a course anymore. We're really looking at this as a program. And why we're saying that is this, the course we really started this, it was about a 8-week course where we're giving you tools. Basically, we're giving you an empty toolbox on week 1. And by the end of the 8th week, you've got a box full of tools. And now you know what they're for and when to use them. Well, now what we're doing through, again, feedback and understanding this process and this journey is it's about a program. And it's really about, yes, it's the tools in the toolbox, but it's how do you implement them? When do you implement them? And how is it appropriate? But more importantly, getting support. And the support is not just from us, it's from your cohort members. So the program that we're going to release in June, and, hang in and listen to our information we're going to release over the next couple of months. But it's really, we want people to along on this journey with us. And we really want people on this journey with us for a year. And the year is really about getting those micro wins along the way to get you the results that you need and you want. So we're still going to deliver, a traditional course type manner in June, really, so then we're all speaking the same language. So if we're talking about be clear and we're talking about, this health selfie, we're speaking the same language, but we're going to remain together supporting our cohort people as they're making progress on their own health journey. And I'm really excited about this. I'm looking forward to really launching this and hearing more feedback from people about how we can serve them better. So I just wanted to bring that up. I got 2 more things to say when I'm done, but I think one of you guys had something to say about that.
Yeah, so Doug, some of our listeners might be wondering or asking themselves right now, did he say a year, like a full year? That's a long time, and that's a big commitment. But I'd like to spin that around and ask yourself, how long have I been struggling for? How many years has it been that I've been trying, to take some steps to get me to where I would like to go? So really, at the end of the day, 1 year is truly not a long, long time. And think of the benefits of, the outcome of improving your quality of life. And it's not just reflective on you, it's often reflective on others around you. So your loved ones, if you're still living at home, your family, and those people that you associate and socialize with. So it really has an overall impact that impacts well beyond yourself. But it's a great program. My opinion might be biased, but we believe we have tremendous content in there, and that it can help some of you out there who are listening to this today.
Yeah, Mark, I'm glad you brought up the 1 year thing. The 1 year is not like a traditional school where you log in, come in, the bell goes off at 9:00. It's going to be a traditional course that we're going to deliver over the first 8 weeks. And it's really about content and giving you content and tools and tips. You can have access to that anytime you want into the future. You don't need to go through at the same time we release the content. But the year is really where we're going to be working with you whenever you want. So, 3 months in, you decided you want to get deeper into creating your plan or reestablishing a health goal or looking at alternative healthcare providers. That's really what we're here. We're here to support you wherever you are in your health journey along your roadmap to wellness. And we're really here with the community to support you. And that's really what it's about, is it's focused on you on that journey. I'm really excited about this. We've done a lot of work and we're really trying to tease in the information. And, when it's appropriate, we're zigging and zagging to really make sure that the delivery of the service meets and exceeds everyone's expectation. 2 more things I'm going to say, guys, and then I'll hand it off and then maybe we can wrap up. So 2 other things that we've been working on for a long period of time, which we're getting ready to launch. And we will be launching them before our next Capstone next month. But hopefully we can really share the results. The first one is our mini workshop. We're releasing a mini workshop, and we anticipate this is going to be released the end of April, early May. And the mini workshop is, we want as many people as possible to join us. We don't have the full details. We don't have the full agenda. We don't have everything ready, but we're anticipating about an hour and a half-ish, where we're going to join together in a manner. It might be a shared Zoom type meeting. And it's really to get you results. And the topic we're going to be talking about is setting a health goal, setting a smart health goal. And what you can expect is this: to hear us talk to you about the importance of it and why. But more importantly, at the end of our time together, you're going to have a document that you can put on the fridge and go, I now know where I'm going. And we want this session to be about results. That's it. And there's not going to be a lot of us patting ourselves on the back or telling stories. It's really to get you the results you need to move forward. So we're working hard to get the rest of the content ready and all the pieces ready so then you can get results. We're so confident that you're going to get results that we didn't waste your time. And we don't even know the price yet. We're going to ask for a small nominal fee to cover some overhead costs. We're thinking it's going to be around $20. But if you feel after the session that you didn't get the results and was a waste your time, we'll refund you. No questions asked. But we're so confident that you're going to get results, that you're going to move forward, that you're going to say, when can I come to the next mini workshop? So stay tuned. There will be more, and Mark will be talking about this on our Facebook Lives in the next little bit. But as we get some clarity on dates and times and process, we will talk more. But we're really, really excited about the mini workshop. Stay tuned. It is coming. The other one I want to share with you that we're equally excited about is our 3 steps to be well. And our 3 steps to be well is really powerful, and here's why. Often consumers in the past would come to us and they want to know, how do I get a prescription? And that's traditionally how someone goes, how do I get a prescription? Or my doctor doesn't support this. And we've said from the beginning that doctors don't necessarily are anti, they just don't know. They don't have the knowledge, the information. They haven't done the background research, what's required. They just don't know. And with fairness to your doctor, there's probably a pile of people lined up outside their door waiting to see them about other medical conditions that they do know about, and supply is not meeting demand. So it's easier to serve that group than to come and learn something new. Now, we're not saying our 3 steps to wellness is the answer to everybody. We're not professing it to be the one-size-fits-all solution. But what we are professing is we've done a lot of work on it. We believe we've dotted most of the I's and crossed most of the T's. And we think it's going to make your experience with getting support from your healthcare provider easier and better. Now, what is it? We're trying to help more people. Remember, we're on a mission to help 100,000 people improve the quality of life by considering the safe use of cannabis in the treatment plan. That doesn't matter where you are. In the past, we were really handcuffed on helping people where we had licensed practitioners in jurisdiction. Now it doesn't matter. Now we want to provide the tools and information, the solution to you to go to your family doc. Because we have said from the beginning, the most appropriate person to help you on your health journey is your family doctor. No one knows you better. No one knows if there's any interactions with some medication you're on or things that have been tried. And your doctor's the one that's in your corner to help you out. So what the 3 steps program is about, it's about providing you the information to move forward on your journey. How? By giving you a treatment plan, a treatment journey, and an information package that really is full of value and is going to let you go, wow, look at I can move forward now. It's giving you tools in the toolbox. So it's loaded with that, but also what it has is it has a tremendous amount of information jam-packed inside this package to bring to your healthcare provider to support you on your journey. So what does it have? It has results of assessments. It has what the regulatory college requires for your doctor to prescribe. It has some information to protect them from a licensing and college requirements. It has all the things that's required to support you on your health journey. And basically you fill out a questionnaire all online, and a PDF will get emailed to you and you're able to download, and it's full of information for you and full of information for your physician. And again, this is another tool to help you on your journey that we are now able to put more energy and focus on to help more people on this journey they're on. Now, if you say, listen, this all sounds wonderful. Like, I really like what you're offering, but my doc's still not in. My doc still won't support it. Well, you have some options. Possibly you could look at a walk-in clinic, or maybe there's another clinician in the neighboring community that you could look to. And depending where you are, we will have an option that you could reach out to us. We have had some elaborate conversations with our consulting practice, Avail Medical, and they have clinicians across Canada right now that are willing to see people. So we're saying we want you to see your family doc, but if you don't have one or your family doc's not supporting you, we have a relationship, and Avail will be more than happy to help serve you if they have a clinician in that area, but they're covering most of Canada right now. And at the same time, we're not there yet, but we're working on trying to develop the same kind of practice in the United States. So if there's someone in a certain state that says, listen, we'd like to build it, we want you to go to your family doc. But if you can't, we're going to develop relationships over time where you can bring the same package to another doc. So we're proud of these things that we've been talking about for a long time, and they're now, like, they've been in the hangar for months and months and months, and we talk about them, and we had code words for them. Now we actually have them a real name. And now they've come out of the hangar, they're on the runway, and we're ready to take off. So really excited about these things that are, we're talking about Capstone event. Like, these are things that are coming, and stay tuned, because you're going to be able to benefit from these. That's the end of my my monthly chat. I think if we were to have a stopwatch going, I dominated the conversation today.
That's all right, Doug. You have all the details that you can deliver so eloquently, and that's great. So a lot on the go is all I can say with regards to some of the programs or initiatives that we've taken on. From my perspective, as always, on Thursdays, we'll continue to deliver new content across the spectrum, meaning 1 week we'll be in Be Clear, 1 week we'll be in Be Well, 1 week we'll be in Be Informed, and kind of go all over the place discussing topics that we think are appropriate. As Doug has already mentioned, feel free to reach out to us at info@weedwell.com if there's a topic that you would really love to hear about, and we will try to share that. And Mark and I will discuss those topics at a future Thursday date. But we're jam-packed for this month. We're very close to initiating a second session each week, which will it'll be one topic, but there'll be two different discussions about the same topic. And I'm looking forward to that. It might be next week or 2 weeks from now, but we're getting that ready as well. And in the end, it's what you mentioned, Doug. It's content, and while you might take one thing from it or a few things from it, there'll always be something new and fresh, and it might speak to you the second time instead of the first time, and that's okay.
Thanks, Paul. So for those listening, if you saw value in this, or perhaps you know of someone that could benefit from this, podcast.weedwell.com would be a way to listen to this probably by mid of next week. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. I really enjoyed it. And you know what? It was a time to reflect, really, because Doug brought up all of these things that we did actually accomplish last month. And it's refreshing, both refreshing and encouraging to say, wow, we did accomplish quite a bit. But also equally as exciting is what's in store before us moving forward. So I am personally really looking forward to that. So if you know someone that could benefit, please go to weedwell.group, become a member of our group, and you can listen to these podcasts. Again, podcast.weedwell.com. Gentlemen, any closing parting comments before I do? I say, take that.
It's your turn, Mark.
That's great. Nothing we haven't covered so far, at the risk of repeating. So for any one of our listeners, we thank you today. Do share this with others that can benefit. And I'd like to remind our audience that these information sessions are intended for individuals who are generally in good health, are generally well-adjusted, and functioning effectively, and are not in need of medical treatment, including anything to do with mental health disorders. These information sessions do not involve the diagnosis or treatment of any medical or mental disorders, and does not prevent, cure, or treat any mental disorders or medical disease. Further, these sessions are not a substitute for therapy, counseling, psychoanalysis, medical treatment, substance abuse treatment, or the advice or services of a medical professional. It is your responsibility to seek independent guidance from medical professionals to the extent that is necessary. So please do speak to your healthcare provider about the appropriateness of cannabis as a treatment option. And for those of you who have taken some steps in improving your quality of life, congratulations. And remember, your journey is your journey. And as long as you're taking some steps forward to improving your quality of life, you should be very proud of the progress that you're making. At WeedWell, we are committed to helping people improve their quality of life, and utilizing cannabis as a treatment option is one way to accomplish that. On behalf of my colleagues, Paul and Doug, and myself, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And I always look forward to the next time that we connect. And until then, be well. Thank you for joining me. I'd like to take this time to share with you how I first became interested and then involved with cannabis as a medicine. My name is Mark Tremblay, a founding member of Simcoe Holistic Health, Ontario's first medical clinic dedicated to the treatment and care of those patients considering cannabis as an option. As a teenager, I did sample marijuana and quickly concluded that it simply wasn't for me. I'll admit I did find myself judging those who did consume weed, thinking that their sole motive was strictly to get high. It wasn't until many years later that I discovered the true medical benefits of marijuana. A loved one was diagnosed with MS. After many months of symptom manifestation resulting in sleepless nights, I witnessed firsthand how cannabis can help alleviate symptoms and improve sleep. My eyes were open. My interest further increased. As a result, Simcoe Holistic Health opened its doors in 2013. Since then, our clinic has operated under 4 Health Canada regulations and served nearly 6,000 patients ranging from ages 3 to 93. I have personally witnessed countless individuals and families who experience improved quality of life. Having said that, I've also observed that cannabis treatment is simply not for everyone. As we continue to grow and expand our reach, Simcoe Holistic Health is rebranding to WeedWell. For more information, visit us at weedwell.com or follow us on our social channels. Till the next time, be well.